school. So yeah. Socially, the senior committee hosted a prom fashion / talent show, and it was a big success. And they're planning a lot of things for the future as well, such as going to the Phillies game and going to the Poconos, and it's doing a lot, which is pretty cool to see the senior committee, doing. Theater is going to perform the musical Legally Blonde in 2 weeks' time, so make sure you get your tickets and go see our theater program do musical, and that's really all I have for you guys this month. So yeah.
Ladune, I couldn't hear the name of the musical.
Oh, Legally Blonde.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Ladune, I do have a question. You said you were looking forward to summer, so you have no school.
Yes.
And no school, so that's July and August.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing in September?
Probably going to college, but that's no, not probably. Will, but
Okay.
it's just.
Have you decided?
Oh no, not yet, but someplace in the world. Yes. Someplace that exists for sure.
Do you want to do you have like a top 20?
Well, I've had 20 schools, but technically they're all top 20. I don't wherever the money takes me, and that's really it, at least minimal amount of debt and just the good vibes at the school is really what I want. Maybe we'll find out next month. We'll see.
You've applied.
Trying to pin you down, but I guess you're not going to
I
give
know,
us
I'm not
even
gonna
a
give.
squeaker of an out.
No.
She's being very modest, folks. I know the list of schools she got into, and it's pretty impressive. I'm not going to out her right now because she clearly doesn't want to talk about it. But she has got her options in front of her, and she is not kidding when she's talking about scholarships and money. So she's going to do well. We look forward to next month to the big decision.
Oh yeah, that's when I'll let people know.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ladune.
All right, to continue our E in the power of we storytelling, I'm going to turn the mic over to Colonial's Public Information Officer, Miss Lauren Wilson. Miss Wilson, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone here from Colonial Nation. Gunning Bedford's wrestling team took top honors at the Mike Snow Wrestling Tournament. It is the first time the Panthers participated in the tournament, named after Mike, a lifelong Colonial who returned to this district to become a beloved teacher before his untimely death. Gunning Bedford was considered the underdog going into the tournament, but the team fought hard to take top honors. It was a comeback journey for the team that went undefeated for 8 years in a row before losing to Smyrna in the 2019-2020 season. Coaches for the team say Colonial can be proud of this team for showing its grit, determination, and heart in the name of the district and Mike Snow. Congratulations to each competitor here, along with the coaching staff, and could we have you all come forward, and the coaches will be handing out your certificates.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand up right up here in front of the table here with Mr. Laws. He's got something for Mr. Arndt. And Coach, as you exit out, we have a little something for the kids, and then there's certificates for you to kind of give to them.
Thank you. I'm not wrestling. Coach? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We're gonna have to get real tight. Scooch down this way some.
Really tight.
Got it. 3, 2. Good.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Parents that are here of the wrestlers, kudos to you, because quite frankly, we know that you're the ones who probably got them there, got them back home for practices, fed them, made sure they got their schoolwork done so they could stay academically eligible. We really appreciate all the parents here, so if we could get the parents to stand so we can give you a big round of applause as well. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. PQ.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, guys, to all of you. So now is the time for the board meeting, where board members and the executive secretary to discuss items of information and topics from our participation in various professional organizations. Specific updates and documents are listed in the agenda. If there are any concerns, questions, or points of interest, will be discussed. That being said, do we have any points of interest for DSBA? I'm sorry, that's wrong.
That's me, yeah, I'm sorry.
Hello. This one I really want to bring highlights to is the Public Education Funding Committee. They're really in the process of gathering a lot of data to try to figure out a better way to fund education throughout the state. But once they started gathering data, they found out it was more work than they expected. So somewhere in I guess the next 6 months, we'll get some more information on what they're looking for to suggest as a way to fund schools.
Ron, can you remind me what PAS stands for?
I surely
PAS
can.
Advisory Committee.
It's the financial education. You got it?
Well, it says PAS.
I know.
But it's a typo.
Yes.
Ah. Okay,
You got it?
got it.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
a FA, John? It's FAS?
Yes. Yes.
And for legislative, we have the next meeting in April, so we don't have any updates for that.
Correct.
Dr. Benzo, what do you have?
The Chief School Officer Association meets Thursday and Friday. We have a 2-day conference where we'll be discussing legislative priorities, focusing on our priorities as an organization, as well as attending some professional development workshops related to DIAA, DASA, and from the University of Delaware. So we have a pretty full schedule, starting 8 o'clock on Thursday, going through till about 2 o'clock on Friday. I'll have an update for the board at next month's meeting. And then you can see in the agenda, I just put a link to the latest NSBA news journal for your reference. That's it for this section. Yeah. So at this time, before we begin public comment, we're going to pause the meeting to allow families and students, if you want to take a picture or gather up, or you have to get home and do your homework. Students, you're
Encourage them to stay for public comment.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they wanted to, only because there's.
You know what? We'll flip the script for this meeting. We do have one public comment, and I think it would be worthwhile for everybody to hear the public comment, as Mr. Peake has stated. So,
All right, real quick. Sorry, I just normally ask we give a chance to let all the parents escape because we know we're not the real reason you guys are here to hang out and listen to us. So, but just because some of the public comments for tonight are definitely important for your community, so I thought it'd be nice to ask you guys to stay for that. But as indicated for public comment sheet that we have, when your name is called, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. You are expected to remain in the designated area for speaking. With the board, and failure to do so will result in you forfeiting your allotted time. Please note that the board members are not obligated to respond to you within your 3-minute time slot. Administrative staff may be identified and asked to provide follow-up on specific questions or personal issues regarding your child or children after the meeting. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, and Shayna?
Shauna.
Shauna. I've been corrected like 5 times on that, and I'm still messing up. I'm sorry, Shauna. So-
My mom didn't spell it right, so.
So, Ms. Shauna Payne, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shauna Payne, and I am here to announce that I will be running for the school board for Colonial School District for nominating District C. And elections will be on May 13th, not November. So hope all of you who are eligible will come out to vote. You don't have to be registered to vote. You just have to live in Newcastle and be able to show your driver's license. And as you can tell, these meetings are super important in terms of how we run our school system and improving our schools. So I hope all of all of you will spread the word and come out to vote, whether it's for me or anyone else who's running. But I thank you all. I've been invested in education for my entire career as a classroom teacher, working at the State Department of Education, helping our students find their way into college and career. So excited to hear your decision next month. That was a big part of my work when I was there. And now I'm a mom of a 5-year-old at Seat Preschool. And so super excited about the work that the district is doing and excited to be a part of Colonial.
Now we'll take a pause.
Yes, now parents will take a pause in the meeting to allow you to gather kids and be able to get out, take any photos that you need. And we thank you so much for coming out, and congratulations to you all that were honored tonight. And to the board members as well, Ms. Shauna did tell me she's going to be here after the meeting. If any of you guys like to meet with her as well.
Picture up front, you better get together over there. You got permission over there?
Do you want to take the picture up here? We'll take it up here.
No,
Don?
we're good, we go right over there.
Sure.
All good, yep.
The lobby's a better shot, John.
Lobby, okay.
Look,
Right out
of
there.
course, it's cherry black. I know you
Sure.
guys are orange and black, but
No, you're perfect.
it's still a nice
Thank
shot
you.
down there.
Yeah, there is that part. All right, now that we have the diehards left with us, we can move on here. And where are we at? I'm sorry. Oh, we are at the consent. That wasn't the right page. All right, so the next agenda item is the consent agenda. The items listed under the consent agenda have gone through board review, including documentation concerning these items. They have been provided to all board members and public in advance. Items in the consent agenda generally include routine personnel and business office actions and updates, as well as approval of previous meeting minutes and education-related items, such as choice and student placements. With that being said, do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve all consent items as presented.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
I moved quick. All right, as moved by Dr. Dorsey, seconded by Mrs. Smith. Are there any questions or comments from the board? All right, with no questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, next up on the agenda is the updates and actions items, and I turn that over to Dr. Menzer.
First up, we have a series of presentations this evening I think are going to be very informative for the board and the public. First up, we have a college and career readiness presentation, and I'd ask Dr. Erskine, Dr. Kujay, and Ms. Morgan to come up to the mic and walk us through the program here. Are you guys using the screen? So we gotta make sure we want to look up at the screen as well. Okay, so there's going to be a PowerPoint up on the TV if you want to slide your chairs back just a little bit.
Okay, good evening. Thank you, Madam Smith, Colonial School Board, Colonial Nation. Thank you for squeezing us in. We were going to be here in February, so I really appreciate us, adding to March, because we do want to share what we think is some pretty important things going on. Before we actually get into the college and career stuff, I wanted to give a Penn Farm update. There it is. So Penn Farm has been with us, for about 12, 13 years, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow. It supports our plant science and our animal science pathways here, but really it now supports the community and school lunches here in our Colonial schools. So Toby Hagarat, our farm manager, just put a quick snapshot, which I believe you might have in your packet, that we, through Newcastle County, we have student workers that are paid to work on the farm almost all year now, because our growing season has now turned into a 10-month process when you include hoop houses and greenhouses and stuff like that. We offer a CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture, where community members can buy crop shares and every week get their vegetables. I encourage all of you to join the CSA. By the way, it's on the Penn Farm website, and it's actually a pretty good bargain for the amount of produce that you get. We're even upping it to, I think, up to 15 weeks this time. This past, so we're in a calendar year, not so much a school year. We're talking calendar year 2024. We produced over 3,000 pounds of produce. It's a lot of produce. Or 20,000 pounds of produce. 20,000 pounds of produce, but we donated about 3,000 pounds of produce. And I brought some numbers just to give you some perspective of what we're doing. Our FFAs are student groups that support agriculture, and they do a lot of the growing and the sales. And where the cost we invested, this is just for the FFA, about $12,000, but after the sales through fundraisers and communities, that and some in-kind stuff, we still netted around $1,500. My point is, we are not, like, you think of school budgets, you operate at 100% loss, that's just what you do, but we're not. We're actually breaking even, so to speak. Now, Emily would say, like, well, there's a bunch of other costs of this, but just kind of like, think of paying the invoices and revenue. We're actually breaking even. And then when you get to Penn Farm, we invested around $25,000, and again, through sales of CSA, local farmers markets, local restaurants, communities, we broke even again, and actually made a teeny little bit of profit. Again, in Emily's world, it's all relative, not including salaries of folks. But my point is, we're really serious about, kind of as much as we can, self-funding those programs. And the most important thing, and I'll end here with Penn Farm, is the food that's going into school lunches. And we estimate that we basically have given Colonial School District about $4,000 worth of produce. So think of it this way, Colonial is in essence saving around $4,000. And in the end, fresh produce literally from the farm into school lunches. And I think that's pretty amazing. So we're real proud of that, and I appreciate a little bit of time to share. Any super quick questions about Penn Farm?
What are you growing? What are you growing?
There's probably 20 plus different vegetables, because part of it is not just the staples that restaurants want to have. And of course, there are probably anything that you can predict that a restaurant would buy. We want to make sure that our kids are also learning about all kinds of different vegetables that may or may not be as popular. Like kale, as an example. At first glance, the kid's like, oh heck no, I'm not eating that. But afterwards they are learning different recipes. And by the way, some of that goes into our culinary arts program as well. So they're also learning how to use all this fresh produce, creating new recipes and stuff like that. But there are a lot of restaurants that like fancier things, and you can't go wrong when it's not only fresh, but local. And then add on top of that, William Penn students, that just sounds cool, because it is cool.
Real quick, two questions. Number one, are they getting into hydroponics?
Yeah, so we have we have 4 hydroponic systems in the districts. We also have a aquaponics system here at William Penn. So yeah, 4 to answer your question.
Right. We still have the starter program, what I call the starter program at Jewel Tree.
Yes, correct.
And then we also have the business department getting into it as well too, to help for sales, that type of stuff, correct?
Managing more invoices and the revenue, so we because we want to keep track of the monies, and in fact that's how I have these monies, because our business education students are also, and that's also with culinary arts too, that even has more costs and revenue and stuff like that.
Graphic arts, are they involved with advertising, anything like that?
A little bit. We already have our logos. There's always so much, but anytime we're designing a new brochure for like the CSA, our first shopping is right down the hallway here to our digital media. And by the way, our digital media does all the promotional videos, and then our graphic design does the more stagnant flyers and posters.
My point is the fact that it's not just the ag program, it's all the other
Correct.
programs are combined in there and get the benefit.
Yeah. Everything we do is just kind of almost think of William Penn as like the major company with a bunch of divisions working together.
And then you can advertise about the plant sale coming up too.
Yeah, I don't know when that is, but I know it's huge, and every spring we have plant sales, and we had George Reed just had a big strawberry sale, and they did real well. So we have obviously William Penn has the biggest ag program, but we also have an ag program at George Reed and at Gunning Bedford, and they both have hoop houses. I didn't even get into our animal science. The bird flu has not invaded William Penn High School, so we're in great shape there.
How much are you selling eggs for?
No, I don't know.
$3 a dozen right now.
$3 a dozen?
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
They're all claimed within about 30 seconds of
Can
the
we mute
email
the
going
mic?
out, though.
Egg prices take
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so in fact, our newest state employees are about to be some new pigs that are coming in April. So, more to come information about that. I will say they will give ultimately the ultimate sacrifice after they are shown at the summer FFA. But part of that sacrifice will be part of the culinary arts department, as they should. I'm just saying, like, hey, they're all in. You want a district that's all in? They're all in.
More important for everybody.
We love bacon.
Other questions about Penn Farm?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, next slide. The main topic that we want to talk about is really our college and career readiness programs that we have here. And so we're going to talk about college readiness, and we're going to talk about career readiness. We're going to actually also recognize one of our great partners that help us with that. But we feel that college and career readiness at the high school can only be successful if there's high school readiness. And so we've created a program in year 2 at George Reed, year 1 at McCullough, and year 1 at Gunning Bedford, called Colonial Compass. I got to give props to Gabe wherever he went to make this great logo. But it is our career exploration and high school readiness course at the middle school. And the short version of that course, we want to increase career awareness. We want to increase student self-awareness of who they are and where they might be most successful and what kind of job environment. We want to develop their employability skills. We want to review technical skills for certain kinds of jobs. And of course, we want them to just explore different jobs in all the different career clusters. And then ending by 8th grade, an action plan for high school. Which career pathway will they choose of the 20 plus that exist here at William Penn High School? So the course meets once a week for about 30-35 minutes every week for the whole school year, and it's every middle school student. There's a 6th grade curriculum, a 7th grade curriculum, and an 8th grade curriculum, and we're hoping to expand it next year into 9th grade, so we can really kind of have a real transition into the high school. It is part of our kind of look that most likely will be part of our next version of the district strategic plan on some kind of career readiness, everyone works initiative, training today, employ tomorrow. We have a bunch of catch lines that we'll kind of throw out and sample and see what catches. But it's really important to us that we start the journey in 6th grade to get kids thinking about life beyond high school graduation. So I'll end there. We even have a little Colonial Compass swag for everybody. And want to know, are there any quick questions about the middle school program, Colonial Compass? We spared no expense on those socks, by the way, just so you know. I mean, really.
So Dr. Erskine?
Yes.
Is this something that the school counselors are going to be leading, or is it like a whole?
That's a great question. You know, because I don't have a lot of time, but every teacher in the building is delivering instruction to kids. So it's not just the counselor. In fact, the counselors are more one of the managers to make sure everything is, you know, going well. Or if there's a substitute teacher, they can sneak in. But it's a complete buy-in from the whole school. And that was important to us. So this isn't just the exploratory teacher's job. This is everybody's job.
So the important, my thought is the important thing is going to be the handoff between middle school and high school. How is it handed off to the high school? Once again?
Well, that's why I say we want to continue the program. Okay. Remember, we're only in.
Still planning.
Yeah, well, we're ready. We're we're negotiating with the high school. But to your point, we absolutely know it's important to have it come into 9th grade. I argue it should also continue all the way up to 12th grade, even when it's doing college applications and resumes and mock interviews and stuff like that at the high school level. But it's exciting, no matter what. Like we're excited. We're going to give kids a solid academic background, but we're going to give them a solid career readiness background before they graduate, and that's exciting.
I would really like, I personally would like to see it go post-high school, because a lot of our students leave us and they still don't really know what to do. So I would like to see us not letting them go completely, us kind of still keeping our hands on them, even when they leave us.
Yeah, try our best. So, but there's more to come. There's more greatness, because we still have, we want to share college readiness and career readiness at the high school level. So I'm going to give it, shifts over to Sarah. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sarah QJ Wigton. I got married this year, so I'll be changing over to Wigton very soon. I am in charge of a lot of areas, and I'm lucky enough to get to hang out in this space all day long, every day. In this space, I run our distance learning, dual enrollment, and early college program. This is also a multi-purpose space. I manage the facilities as well as oversee the library as well. My kind of two main buckets are high school online courses as well as college courses. And the high school online courses is our distance learning program, where I have students every period come and they actually have class in here, and they're working through various online courses. These online courses are for high school elective credit, and it really gives the students a chance to personalize their learning. We have over 45 courses that are available in our catalog. And so students are able to select courses that they wouldn't otherwise be able to take. Some of our most popular include cosmetology, fashion design, astronomy, marine science, forensic science. So we have a lot of great options for students. But also when they're taking these courses, they're also honing those soft skills. So they are learning to self-direct. When they're in here, I'm off to the side, working on the back end, and I'm there to help them. But really, they are managing their own time, they're directing their own learning, and also increasing those digital literacy skills. And here's just kind of a snapshot of some of the different courses. I kind of revise the catalog every year and make sure that we're hitting courses that are meeting our students' interests and needs, but also hitting all of the career pathways. For instance, I have a lot of students interested in business, so for next school year I add an Excel course to kind of meet that need. And then my other big hat is our college courses. I oversee all of our college courses, and we kind of break those up into two buckets. One is dual enrollment. Dual enrollment are courses that are taught here in the building face-to-face. The teachers, the William Penn teachers, have been approved by the universities to be basically an adjunct here in the building. And then we also have early college courses where students can take courses either at the college campus or online with a college instructor. We are partnering with all of the major universities in the state, and we have collectively over 60 college courses that are available to students. You may or may not know that college courses are expensive, ranging from $500 for one course at Del Tech to almost $4,000 at UD. But we are able to offer those courses to our students 90% off tuition, and in several cases free. At this point, you can see how our enrollment has just skyrocketed across the year. So the big chart that I have is when I've taken over this program, the enrollment over time. And I think that the demand is growing not only because the word's getting out that, hey, we have this great opportunity, but also we've been increasing the number of courses here in the building, which is the bottom right graph. You can see that when I first started, we only had about 3 courses, college courses offered here in the building, and by next year we're gonna have about 13. So a lot of demand there, and really just growing to meet our students' needs and our pathways. But you can offer all the courses you want. What's really important to me is, are they doing well? And that's what the other chart on the top right is, the grades that students are earning. And you can see that we have a lot of A's and B's and C's. So students are earning that credit. And at this point, since I've taken over, we've had almost 1,400 credits earned. 24 of those are Ladue, which I'll talk about in a minute. My role in supporting students through our college courses, I am recruiting. You know, those are 11 courses or 13 courses here in the building that we don't want to just have 5 kids sitting in the building, right? We want to fill those classes with 20 plus kids. So a lot of my time in the spring is recruiting for those courses, meeting with students one-on-one and in groups to advise them. We actually sit down and say, you know, what do you want to do after high school? Where do you want to go? Look up those programs. And as I'm having those conversations, I'm teaching them the kind of unmasking what the college process is, right? Explaining the difference between undergraduate and graduate and looking to see what are the programs. And from there, we kind of figure out which courses are going to help them reach their goals, help them through the application and registration processes. If they're taking the courses online or at the university, I have a little orientation with them to make sure that they know how to get into Canvas or that sort of thing, reviewing APA and checking in with them. And then at the end of their senior year, I send every senior a letter with the college courses that they've taken during their time here and a reminder that they need to transfer those credits to wherever they end up going. So I do hold some office hours over the summer to help with that as well. So just kind of a couple snapshots of our catalog. We do have some general education courses. What's special about English is it does replace senior English, which is a big benefit to a lot of our students. Psychology and sociology are probably our 2 most transferable courses. All of these are offered in the building. And when students are taking college courses, whether it's a 7-week online course or a full year course or even a semester, they're earning those 3 college credits plus an AP weighted credit here as well. So that gives them a nice GPA boost. Our legal and public services pathway has really been strengthened through dual enrollment. In that pathway, we have 10th graders taking Criminal Justice 101. They're actually in it right now. And then in the fall of their junior year, they can move on to 205. And once they pass 205, you can see that through the early college, so the first 2 are the ones that are here in the building with Miss Logic, but then that opens the doorway to a bunch of different courses, which Ladue has taken advantage of as well. So she's kind of been through this process, but those students can then, you know, take a bunch of different courses online or at the college campus. In our allied health, we have a lot of strong students that want to become nurses. So we actually have 3 courses in the building that are required for Del Tech's nursing program, including Bio 120 Anatomy and Physiology, which is a ranking course for many nursing programs, as well as that English and sociology that we mentioned. And you'll hear more from Ms. Morgan about the patient care assistant program, but that is a great cohort that we have running right now. The kids are actually taking Del Tech Math 152 at the university, earning dual enrollment credit, and then they'll be taking the anatomy and English next year, and then sociology if they want to. And that will lead to 4 certifications plus those 3 dual enrollment classes.
Are those courses transferable to Delaware for the nursing program?
So a lot of our courses are transferable. We are finding out that the anatomy does transfer, but as an elective credit, UD does want students to take their anatomy. But yes, the sociology, the English, all of that transfers. Yep, and it also, helps boost their GPA, and that's what I tell kids too. If, of course, the pie in the sky idea is that it all transfers, right? But even if it's not, they're earning the knowledge in the course, the process they're learning about, as well as getting that GPA bump, and it looks good. So when colleges are looking, and you're just a resume in an application pile, the fact that you can do and be successful in dual enrollment classes is something that colleges are looking for because you're demonstrating that you're ready for that rigor. So that also helps our students get into some prestigious schools. And then we have a lot of students that come to me from the business pathway that are interested. So we have a bunch of different courses for business, including entrepreneurship, which is here in the building. And then same thing, computer science has become increasingly popular, and we have lots of different courses to help them. So just wrapping up with a student spotlight for my portion, Lejeune, I've been working with her for about 3 years now since she came to us. She has taken 5 online courses through our distance learning program, including earning world language credit for sign language. She came to us and just wanted something different. So she has been earning the American Sign Language, as well as taking advantage of all 3 programs to really dive into her passion, which is political science. So she has been through our legal studies program, and she has been just exploring a lot of different courses to the point where she's going to be graduating with 8 college courses under her belt. Lejeune, can you just chime in a little bit and say, how has these programs benefited you and something that you've learned about yourself?
Yeah, I'll never forget the day near the end of my sophomore year. I sat down with Dr. Kujay. Oh, yeah. And I told her what I want to do, the future, and what colleges I wanted to go to. And she took 30 minutes to plan out all the courses I was gonna take, and she put it on a piece of paper. And I still have a piece of paper of all the courses I was gonna take. And I took the majority of those courses. I've taken every type of class in here that we offer. I take the after school dual enrollment class with DSU. I've taken online classes at WILMU and UD, and just a bunch of classes, which has definitely been stressful, but definitely added to my time management skills. And a big part of me is always scared to tackle college classes, and the idea of will my skills that went to high school transfer. I think that taking these classes definitely prepared me to go to college. I feel way more comfortable now that I'm gonna be graduating, going to college in the fall. I feel way more ready than I would be if I didn't take those classes. And the GPA boost helped a lot. I also with my career pathway, since I moved here sophomore year, I had to take legal studies intro to my freshman year. I was able to take classes over the summer. I took 2 college classes over the summer going into my junior year. And that helped me get into the junior level of legal studies. If I didn't, I would have been on the sophomore level, a year behind, which was really nice. And yeah, I really enjoy it. I tell all the underclassmen I know to take dual enrollment classes, and even the world language credit. I think it's so interesting to be able to take ASL and French or Spanish. There's nothing wrong with those languages, but I think it's a new take on world languages, and I think it's really appreciated. And also I was able to get a history credit during the summer for American history. A lot of other people who've done world history over the summer, or even American history over the summer. So yeah, I like it a lot. I think every student should take advantage of this program, and it's been great. And Dr. Kujay is a great help to this process too. So yeah.
Thank you. Any questions about our college or online courses before I turn the mic over?
Just a comment, the criminal justice, I would like to really sit down and talk to you, because I know there's a lot of young people out here have misconceptions of law, is why they keep getting in trouble. So I think that this course can really help people understand some of the decisions they make and the ramifications, rather than just thinking, oh, it's not gonna happen. Oh, yes it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually one of the reasons too, we have adjusted the pathway to be legal studies and public services, because we also don't want the law to scare students away. If they have a bad misconception about it, we want it to be more inclusive to all the different areas that can be part of that as well. So yes, we can definitely chit chat. Thank you. All right, so next up is our career readiness with Anna Morgan and work-based learning.
Hello, thank you for having me. I am Anna Morgan. I'm the work-based learning coordinator, and I will be very brief because I want some time for the students to really talk to you. So we're just gonna go over a few wins. So our water management course is now in the third year or fourth year? Fourth year. So our students take it as an online course. Dr. QJ last summer, I believe, created the course completely online. So other schools actually use that as well, which is pretty cool. So students can do it on their own. They can do it whatever semester they want, and then they go on field trips to get the hands-on experience. So it's a nice combination, and it allows a lot of students who are interested in taking this course but can't fit it in their schedule to be able to participate. So we also have developed in the last couple years a phenomenal partnership with Nemours. So it is very difficult to get work-based learning experiences in healthcare because lots of places say we can't take anybody over 18, cannot walk in my door. But we've had an amazing partner, Margaret LaFasia. You will start hearing her name if you have not already within the state. She's knocked down a bunch of doors for students to come in to Nemours and get some awesome experience. So one of the things we did most recently was a Nemours Healthcare Academy that was created under the guidance of the Workforce Development Director and DEI Committee at Nemours. So they reached out to us because we already had an established partnership with them, and we were the only school they did this with. So they wanted to specifically focus on 9th and 10th graders to provide an experience of just touring through Nemours. And we heard from probably 10 different doctors, took time out of their day from all different specialties. We heard from nurses. It was an awesome experience, and we have someone who participated in that here, Dakota. You can see her, she's got the same hair in the picture. And she's gonna talk a little bit more about that at the end. It was really cool. They had different simulations. We have some pictures on the next page. And that is gonna hopefully be developed into a continued partnership. So that's why they wanted to start in 9th grade. They wanna follow these allied health students through senior year and beyond. Which is very cool. We also got to go during Christmas, which was really neat. We actually saw the Delaware State Police were scaling the windows in like elf costumes. It was a very, very cool experience, and it was very special to be there at that time of the year to see also how, you know, what families have to deal with who are there, but how they are also able to bring joy at the same time, which is great. And we also, I missed that we also have our seniors going in the spring to do one-day job shadows. So that is huge. This is something that we've been working on trying to get. We have some partnerships at Christiana Care, but this is a really large one, a really cool opportunity for our students. So also the patient care technician program, we also have a couple students who will be talking about that in just a second. So every other day they go to Del Tech, which is pretty cool. And you're gonna hear from them directly about that experience and be able to talk to them a little bit more. But they are going to come out of their senior year employable. They're gonna have EKG, phlebotomy, patient care technician, and CNA. So they will be able to immediately be employable, continue their education in allied health, or just work.
And again, we are the only high school that is enrolled in this program.
So I think we're gonna take some time right now to talk to these students. So we have Sophia, Andrea, and Dakota. You guys wanna come up?
They can stay seated.
You can stay
More
seated, I'll bring you the
comfortable.
mic.
I can tell, I think they give them the mic there.
So we have 2 from the PCT cohort and then 1 who went on the Nemours trip. So whatever you would like to ask. Hello.
So what was the highlight for you? You're in the patient care
Yes.
tech program.
Mhm.
How long, is this your first year in the program?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what your day's like when you go to Delaware Tech.
During the patient care technician program, that was the first semester. It started off a little hectic, but as soon as like we got the hang of it, like with all of the work and homework, we started getting to labs, which I think all of us really liked, and being in like a different environment and out of school, I think we all enjoyed that. And being in the lab, it really gave us like a hands-on experience of like the things that we would do in like an actual hospital without like the limits that we have here in Penn. And yeah.
So what exactly is the difference between a patient care technician and a CNA? I'm not as familiar with the first one.
Okay. A patient care technician usually is in environments like a nursing home, usually with elderly, and a patient care technician, their age ranges further.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But doing essentially the same type of work?
Yes.
And is your goal to be a nurse
Yes.
or further?
I think right now a nurse, but I think I definitely want to expand my education.
What year are you?
I'm a junior,
What college are you looking at?
University of Delaware.
My name is Sophia.
You got to speak into that.
My name is Sophia.
And what grade are you?
I'm also a junior.
And you're first year in this program as well?
Yes.
Be curious to hear your take on what's it all about. How did it feel?
In the beginning, like she did say, it was very kind of all over the place. It was unorganized and unplanned in the beginning, but then once we kind of moved on, it was more centered and focused on the actual program. And we spent a lot of time in the classrooms doing work and quizzes every single Sunday. And then towards the end, we kind of moved towards clinicals, where we actually did get to do hands-on activities that would be used in actual hospital settings. And besides all the bad things aside, it was actually a very good program that gave me a lot of experience hands-on, considering that I do want to be in the medical field and work in hospital settings. So I feel it did give me that one up over people who are just starting who go into the medical field without having any background experience with clinicals or any of the background information that we got.
Did this change your goals at all, career-wise, on what you wanted to do, or did it help change kind of how you wanted the next steps to be by learning from this program?
It gave me a broader mindset and kind of made me realize that my options aren't as limited as I thought they were. So it definitely gave me more options to consider in the medical field and not just being a nurse, and how to other things in that range that I can also do with the certification that I'm going to get.
Like what?
Like EKG, PCT, CNA, and then using those certifications, I can also work my way up in the hospital to get better ones and be higher than that.
Good. And you planning to go to college as well too?
Yes.
Where?
University of Delaware.
Good, strong program. You need to speak up too.
Hi, my name is Dakota, and I am in year 10. And I'm bittersweet about my first experience. I had an amazing experience actually. The staff there was very kind and very understanding for me. Because it's my first time, and I enjoyed the experience a lot. And it was hands-on as well. And yeah.
You went to Nemours? Is that where you went?
Yes.
What was you toured all around and you met doctors. What was the one that stuck out? What one got your attention? Wow, that's cool. Was there one that jumped out at you?
All of them jumped out to me because this is my first time. I forgot what it's called, but I like the one where they check the heart and all that. Yeah, that's the one I like. And I think it was very interesting because it's they save lives for real. They really do this. This is their everything thing.
So they did some really hands-on things. If you can see in the bottom corner, they were
Yeah,
actually
that's me.
intubating a patient. I mean, not a real, it's done, it's done. And what were you doing in the upper corner? I was
Turning on the light.
That's a real scientific thing. You want her to show you how she did that? And is there another opportunity to go back Or is there another sequence to this, or is it just a one-day event? I mean, maybe Ms. Gordon, or is there?
So there will be another
There'll be
sequence.
another
So we have not determined the next date, but this will be a continued partnership. They wanted a cohort of students in 9th and 10th grade who were in allied health. And they really wanted to introduce them. So, I mean, these doctors really put, all the adults you see in that room, besides Mrs. Hudson, is a doctor at Nemours. So, I mean, these are like high up people, and they truly want to help students. I mean, their passion was unmatched. It was very cool.
So in the allied health program, what's your path that you're picking? Like, there's a couple of different ones you could go. Which one do you think you're gonna?
I would like to be a pediatric nurse.
So you're gonna go.
Yes. I would like to work with kids.
So you'll be doing what they're doing next year. You're gonna do the patient care tax.
Yes, hopefully,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, you both, is there a specialty from a nursing standpoint that two of you want to get into? Don't be shy, I know you're not shy.
I'm not really sure yet.
You're not sure yet?
No.
No, that's okay, I mean, you could kind of, figure out what you like, what you don't like, and then go from there, yeah. What do you know?
Not really. I found myself getting more into nuclear medicine though recently. I hate twins.
Nuclear medicine.
Yep. So you want to go a little bit more than just as a nurse, you want to get more into that, into the physical, or not into the x-ray type of work and all that type of treatment, and what might get as part of that.
It's kind of like a mix between like nursing
that?
and I feel like a mix between nursing and kind of like in the lab and doing research, kind of like. So I'm just trying to find something that balances the two, I guess, and not just stick with nursing.
So did you start in 9th grade knowing you wanted to go this route, or did you just find it this year? How did you get to this point?
I got to this point because I really like kids, and I watch a lot of shows like Grey's Anatomy. I watch a lot of shows on hands-on. I know it's not realistic, but it also gives me an idea. I'm like, I like this. Like, I like when people help each other. Like, that brings me joy. Like, I actually want to do it. This is my passion.
Cool.
So the reason why, and I felt that in 9th grade. Like, I always wanted to be in the nursing field for some reason, because I guess my mom and the shows I watch also. So I watch. And I seen vision, and I was like, this is what I really want to do.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, I have a question. So when you say hopefully about the parent or patient care thing, do you guys apply to the program? Or is it like, you just like ask to be in it? Like, how do you get into the program?
To be honest, you want to answer it? Because I
They kind of like choose you based off like your grades, your attendance, your GPA, and you're recommended for it. You also have to write a personal statement as to why you want to be in it. It's not just like anybody gets to be in it. It's like a select few of like 15 or less people who actually get to be in it. So it's very selective. And yeah, a lot of people didn't get to come into it.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you for coming out, girls.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We should have brought some blood pressure cuffs and things, because I'm sure these people here need to be checked.
And just one more thing I wanted to add about the Nemours. We actually saw live surgery, which was really cool, and I obviously did not take pictures of that, but it was really cool. Yeah, no problem. All right, so the next thing we want to talk about is JP Morgan Chase. So we all know that JP Morgan Chase is a huge company, right? So we actually have multiple partnerships with multiple groups of employees there. So not on this slideshow is a group of about 10 to 15, I forget what department they're in. I think they might be from various departments, but they are going to be sponsoring for our 3rd year in a row our resume and interview competitions. So we have started workshops for that. We host them every week during Penn period. Students can sign up for them, and they will write a resume. It will be judged, and then they will bring their resume to the interview competition, and they will be interviewed by professionals from JP Morgan Chase. So we're looking forward to that. That's in April. Oh, can you go back? Thank you, sorry. So the other JP Morgan Chase partnership that we have is a group of mentors who come every month to our University of Delaware entrepreneurship class, and they talk about different things: professionalism, communication in the workplace, diversity in the workplace, and that is led by Wilson Below. Did I say her name right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And he is a vice president in the Newark office. So they come and they do a bunch of different things. It's super interactive, and they're really helping the entrepreneurship class to be able to just put what they're learning into action.
So we do have something we'd like to, Mr. Gilo, can you come up, please? Every now and again, the board likes to recognize somebody who comes out, and here's a letter thanking you for being a very important part in the E in our Power of We. We really appreciate all you've done.
It's my pleasure,
And
really.
JP Morgan Chase does. It's awesome. Love to hear the stories and see where the students go. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for this recognition. It's definitely the most important I've ever received in my career. Thank you. I'm standing here because my parents taught me the importance of service to others at a very young age. And if you could do anything for me, pass that along to any kid who listens. While I'm here, I wanted to announce that at JP Morgan, our employees are actually donating $1,000 to the William Penn Entrepreneurial Competition that's going to be held in May. So we're very happy to do that for you guys, as well as a shout out to you, Ms. Beasley, for everything you do for our kids. Thank you. Thank you.
That concludes our college and career readiness program.
So I just want to say, thank you, Dr. Erskine, Dr. How do we say the new name?
It's gonna be Wington.
Wington?
Wington.
All right. I like Kujay, but that's all right. We'll stick with it. It's easier to. I'm finally getting that right. And Anna, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I do want to take one quick minute to just give a shout out. This all doesn't happen by chance. This happens because of hard work and dedication and commitment to the programs, to the students. And I would be remiss if I didn't give Dr. Erskine a shout out for the blood, sweat, and tears that he puts into helping put these partnerships in place, and then seeing them through to the finish, and then some. Because it doesn't just get done, it gets done well, and it keeps happening. So Brian, I think you deserve definitely a kudos. And we're not going to hold it against him that he ran over the 7 minutes he was allocated for the presentation. No, I'm kidding. Always is. No, kidding. So next up is the board asked about 2 months ago when they saw an article in the American School Boards Journal about artificial intelligence. What would it look like in schools? So we have apparently a Cracker Jacks team of folks from Colonial that are here to show us what AI looks like actually in the classroom, or is looking like in the classroom. So I'll turn it over. Their time limit is whatever they want to do.
And I was told explicitly to get you guys up and moving, so we're going to try to speed this up so we can get you up, we get you experiencing.
That's why we need the patient care people to help us.
2 minutes is the time limit.
So good evening, President PQ, Dr. Menzer, school board members, and Colonial Nation. Tonight we're excited to share an update around artificial intelligence in Colonial. I think our group of presenters, we have Joe Gleason, Justin Hanger, and Tara Amsterdam, would all agree. Right now, we're not experts in AI, but we are engaged in the work, and we're excited to share this evening where we are currently as a district. But we're excited you're going to have the opportunity to participate as both a student and a teacher using some new AI tools that we have as a district. And one of the things that we want to emphasize before we get going is we've been very intentional in looking at the types of tools that we're selecting for both staff and teachers, and ensuring that student and staff data and privacy is of the utmost importance. But like I said, we want to get you up and moving. I'm going to turn it over to Justin Hanger.
So we're going to cover a couple things in the 15 minutes we're allotted. Oh, I bet you do. So we're going to go over very quickly what is AI. That is a doctoral level course that we're going to give in about a minute and a half. We're going to look more deeply into how AI looks in Colonial right now, and then talk a little bit about the benefits and the risks. We were able to survey about 72 teachers across all the grade bands in Colonial and got their feedback on AI, how they feel about it, and what their concerns are. So we'll be sharing those as well. So first up is what is AI? So programs that you are used to, that you currently use right now on your computer, they are on the left there. They're traditional programs. They are fixed rules, step by step. They are predictable. So you know that if you hit the A key on your keyboard, you know that the letter A is going to pop up in your Word document. That is, every single part of that is coded and planned out by whoever writes the programs. AI is very different. It is flexible, it is learning, and it is intuitive. So it's much more like our brains. So what happens is it is given a massive, massive set of data, and it is essentially told, learn from this. And then as it goes through, it makes connections, and it is then able to feed back like what you're asking it to do. Obviously much more complicated than that, but that is the basic premise. You have been using, you can go back one, please. So you have been using AI and its principles for years and might not have known it. These are just some of the examples. So any personalized recommendations when you turn on Netflix and it tells you what you might like, that's machine learning and AI. Your email spam filters, obviously nobody coded every possible email into that. It learns what a spam email looks like and then knows to put that into your spam folder. Navigation, obviously traffic roads are ever changing. It learns like what traffic looks like, different times of the day, different parts of the, the area, and will change based on that. If you've interacted with any like customer service chatbots, you might have noticed recently that instead of having like things you click on, like I want help with this thing, or if you call in and it says say number 1, you can actually say, I need to talk to somebody about this, and it will kind of start routing you the right way. So all of that are using artificial intelligence, machine learning, and those principles to give you these things. So I want to turn it over to Tara Amsterdam.
Hi, thank you. So over the past few years, we've been doing a lot of learning and specifically focused on AI and its implications for the educational environment. We've worked with the Delaware Department of Education, and we've used their guidance to align our vision with the state of Delaware's guidance. We've looked at tools that are both educational and generic, and through this learning, we've come up with this vision for AI in Colonial. So first, TechCSD is going to recommend AI tools that are safe. So this groundwork supports our staff and our students to know that any tool that we're recommending and supporting is going to be safe for them, and it encourages them to try something new, which might be scary, like AI. We offer tools that provide a walled access, meaning that any data that our staff or our students put in is not going to train a larger AI model. So that's really important to us as we consider what we're offering to our staff and to our students. Secondly, we recommend and we support tools that are designed for the educational environment. There is a ton of AI out there that is not necessarily safe for the educational environment. So any AI tool that TechCSD is recommending, it is educationally focused. And finally, we recommend and support AI tools that are secure and private. We make sure that we're following the federal laws for student data and privacy. And there's really two main components to this part of our vision. First, we vet all of the tools that we offer. We use something called the One Ed Tech rubric to help us look at the programs and make sure that they follow the guidelines from DOE and from the federal law. And secondly, we advocate for interoperability, because when digital tools are interoperable, we control the data. and not the vendors. And so that is really important that we look for tools that are interoperable with our digital environment that we have. So staying true to that vision, we have adopted Conmigo at William Penn, and I'm going to turn it over to Joe Gleason, and he's going to tell you a little bit about what's happening at Penn.
Hey, board members. So this year, William Penn introduced a new partnership with Khan Academy as a tool for enriching the academics that are already going on that have kind of been highlighted throughout this board meeting. At January 17th, we were actually, through that partnership, able to enable Conmigo. You might have seen it. It was recently featured on 60 Minutes. If you haven't seen that clip, I encourage you to watch. It's a great example of all the features that are involved in Conmigo, and it gave us a great dashboard that allows us to see how both teachers and students are using it. And in a moment, we're going to take a step back to the computers that our team's firing up now and take this for a test drive. Conmigo is a tool that allows students to get an extra push if they need help, for example, with tutoring in areas like math or reading or science. It also is great for extending learning for our students who are approaching mastery or have already reached it and need an extension, especially for students that we talked about today that are engaging in college level skills that might not have access to tutoring supports for that type of level of learning. The teachers also have a great dashboard through Conmigo that allows them to just be really efficient and take some of the time that would typically be used during planning time or even outside of school hours and dedicate themselves to the things that they really need to focus on. Teachers can use the Conmigo tool to create lesson plans, to create rubrics, create quizzes, write learning objectives, and then focus on student-facing issues or providing feedback or working with groups of students where they would otherwise need to focus their efforts on planning. Some of our students have really dug in to the Conmigo tool and been using it consistently. We've activated this tool for all students. We're averaging about 3 chats per student, but students like Anasia, we looked at the data in preparation for this meeting and realized that she has just been talking to Conmigo, I think even more than her friends. I mean, she is just using it constantly. And we met with her and we asked her, what was it about Conmigo that really led her to be so active with the program and specifically with that tool? And she said that it just helps her break down the math questions unlike anything else that she's ever been worked with before. She shared that math has been a struggle for her throughout her academic career, but instead of just giving her the answer, it walks her through the process step by step. The tool helps to ask her questions that allows it to understand where her gaps of learning are and then helps her understand the answer, not just find it. And if you can go to the next slide, we're going to take a second here and tap. You're going to visit a table. There's 2 computers at each table. One computer will have the student dashboard. It'll show you what kind of guardrails are provided for students. It won't just give them the answer, but it'll kind of coach them through the thinking process. And the teacher platform, which has a ton of tools. One of my favorite that you'll see is the Make It Relevant tools. So if a teacher is pulling out an old lesson about something like personal finance that maybe has been used over the years and is not super relevant, super interesting to the students, it can take those existing materials and provide examples and context that are relevant to someone who was born in 2010. So if you're ready, we'll invite you back to these tables here, spend a few minutes at each one, give you a chance to get your hands on it, and at the end we'll give you a chance to ask questions.
So the teacher view is on the left and the student view is on the right.
Quick question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Security of the information and whatnot that goes through the system. How strong or how weak?
So none of the tools that we recommend train the larger model, which means the data never leaves Colonial.
So it never leaves our
Nope.
our central hub.
And that's why Tom was saying we've been very cautious and very, what's the word? Intentional, yeah, intentional in the tools that we've selected.
And then what's the thought on expanding this into other items, other services?
So I can tell you.
Other operations that we do within the district?
So first, we're looking at expanding in William Penn. And we have started expanding to the writing coach aspect. So we started primarily with a digital SAT preparation at William Penn. And then we started adding in writing coach. So this allows students to put in their writing and it will coach them through the writing process to improve their writing. So that's our next step. We're planning on launching, we have more AI tools in the elementary world. We're using Canva AI tools, which are all built in to the system. And so again, the data never leaves that environment.
Okay, so it's all educational. There's nothing that we can we could increase the service of the system to be able to go to help anything from administrative level. I'm thinking.
We do have Google Gemini, and last week or 2 weeks ago, I did a training with the team leaders at Castle Hills to teach them how to do prompting to help them adapt materials for students based on certain lessons that the students have. So it could be, that tool could be used administratively, it could be used, it's just a general large language model.
How about grading?
Creating?
Grading.
We have Cami, which does automatic grading. Our LMS Schoology does automatic grading as well.
So that would assist the teachers to be able to go, not have to manually put in the grades every day or anything like that. It automatically goes into the system. So at the end of the marking period, they push a button and they grade.
And the key to that is interoperability. So as long as these tools are interoperable that we are intentionally purchasing and putting in place, then that data will flow from when the student takes the quiz to the Schoology gradebook, from the Schoology gradebook to, in this case, today, it's eSchool, which is their report card. So that is why that interoperability is so important, because it saves our teachers so much time.
That's right.
So then the other question is that I'm sure everyone asks you, what are you doing on the opposite end to stop the student from abusing it?
It's a great question. So on the student dashboard, there's a monitor. Teachers get how students are responding and what types of questions.
Oh, okay.
Very inconsistent. See if there's working, see if there's students that are approaching mastery,
Walk in the office.
Yeah. What do you want to join?
Teachers have so much.
From cradle to grave.
It doesn't replace them, but it can be like Joe showing like recommendation.
There it is, yeah. So what I asked him was, I just asked this computer what was 4.6, and it wouldn't give me the answer. And they said, let's think about it, and I said, is
Because that's preventing you want
Yes.
Run
We want the kid, and he prompted me with a question. Let's think about 4 and 6 together.
I'm sure
Like,
it's getting into a lot of.
so it's prompting. So I wanted to know if I was the teacher. All of a sudden, Robbie knows 4 plus 6. What strategy did you use, or what prompt did you use to get Robbie to understand? He said they're still working on that strategy, because I wanted to know, because then I can incorporate it in my lesson plans face to face.
Lisa's part is they just talk to you nicely about yelling at you.
And it was,
4 plus 6. How many times do you do that? Happened to Robin. I guarantee you
he can put it in there.
I did that happen now, so I can't use it.
With such
So now what age groups are you comfortable with?
I can't see something right now. Back another month from now. She's so good, she wants to go back and teach it. No, that is
Students, like some
Oh,
teachers
really
and
good.
stuff.
In theory. But I know the students were.
I think they're starting.
Like for our division, you have to.
Of course, yeah. I have to, I know, 1-to-1.
So, you know, when you were sitting down and you were starting to write information from
Accessibility for all.
How's it going?
Good. So, right. So the key to it, and I think, like,
And it says, wow, that's a great idea.
it has
Stroking my ego.
without getting too into it. But there are tools out there, and there are ways to
Instead of having to like reference 3 different sets of guidelines, sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Or was that just actually? Oh, I thought that was the, get back to the seats.
Tom knows.
All right, everyone, let's start wrapping it up. Go back to the tables.
That brings us back to session here.
Oh, you turned me off.
He turned off his
Gabe
mic.
turned me off.
Mike.
Yeah. Tom was like, I'm getting all my time.
Did you see that? It's pretty cool.
So that I can only imagine. I hope they enjoy the IEP portion. Have that help them. The IEP, like, he should be letter of recommendation. That's all IEPs. That's the one. Right there. The conversations I've had with teachers.
It's bad. It used to be, man. South Carolina, he did
very
something for himself.
Because, I mean, I used to be a guy who had templates and everything, spreadsheets and stuff like that.
So while we are really excited about the way that this creates opportunity to us to enhance learning, to support teachers, to make the whole process a little bit more efficient, this technology and the way it's rolled out, if we're not meticulous about the guardrails and some of the concerns you have even raised about privacy and things, are not thought through, it could create some pretty significant challenges. And that is something that we've heard from our teachers and our staff in the buildings, from both elementary school all the way up through the high school. One of the things we did in preparation for this session was we surveyed teachers in a variety of buildings, and we want to thank everybody that took the time to complete our survey. It was a short survey just to kind of a temperature check about how our staff felt about the outlook of AI in education. And the last question on that survey said, at this time, how do you feel about the future of AI in education? We asked them to just give it a rating 1 through 5. 1, do the challenges outweigh the potential benefits? Or a 5, do the benefits outweigh the challenge? And I think we were all a little bit surprised to see, you can hit the next slide, Shade, that we are, as a district, right in the middle. Out of 5, the average was 2.6. And this was prior to our rollout of Khan Academy, but when you break it down by grade band, I think it does make a little bit more sense when you think about it. Some of our elementary and middle school teachers were in the middle, leaning slightly towards the positive, the exciting, thinking about, but members of our high school staff were very skeptical because their concerns, which are super valid, especially from members of like our English department, were concerned about taking some of the rigor out of things like the writing process, and of course concerns about academic integrity and enabling cheating in our schools. Other teachers had concerns that I don't think any of us even really thought about, like some of the ethical concerns related to this technology and environmental concerns, the energy use. And all of that, I think, kind of factored into why, at this time, our rating is right in the middle, and why our team here is trying to be super careful about how we roll these tools out, responding to feedback we're getting from teachers, as well as the students who are using this technology every day.
Joe, is anybody talk about Gemini at all? Because it is in our Google Suites. Is that something that they're using? Because that's also from a brainstorming perspective, from a creating a draft perspective.
So we identified Gemini in December. It's only available for teachers.
Okay.
And we had multiple meetings with the Gemini team to ensure that the data that teachers were inputting wasn't training, which is critical. But upcoming PD, we have a WeConnect conference next Friday. We'll be leading a couple sessions that will include Gemini.
So I've been playing around with it, and I'm like, I got a buddy, Gemini. I'm like, hey, Gemini, what's going on? Hey,
wait till you find the
how are
voice
you doing
mode, you can
today?
talk to it.
It was like, that's a really great idea. I'm like, I like you.
In our district, we've done a variety of trainings with those tools too. We did a Gemini training with the social studies department recently with our physical education and health teachers. The science department is engaged in it. And Mr. Jabot and Dr. Nunville did an administrator training for it as well. So this is coming up as well as like in our coaching meetings with teachers when they're talking about the challenges related to creating assessment items that are aligned to the students' strengths and deficits, like using the data that they're collecting to guide future instructional decisions. So it really is driving not just the student learning, but the way we're teaching in schools too.
Because this is in a school environment, are there limits to the topics that could come up that are, say, unhealthy, like how do I create an IEP?
Sure.
Yes, that's all included. All of that is included in any tool that we're offering. It has those guardrails in for our students, yes.
This is a school.
And if a student tries to test the waters, it will guide them back. It will guide them back. So when you were on the devices, we had the student side, which will totally guide them, and then the teachers have all those teacher tools, and that's essentially helping them with the prompting, so that if they're using Gemini, they have to write the prompt completely themselves, but if they're using the Khan tools, it gives them that framework, that graphic organizer to organize their thinking. So we're trying to meet everybody where they're at. Any other?
I feel like if you're using Gemini or something like that, you're changing. You're writing writing a prompt is going to become the next writing activity. Like, how do you ask what it is you're looking for to get the best response, as opposed to writing the answer? Because it's really hard to write the right prompt.
So, writing a prompt, the World Economic Forum said in the next 5 or 6 years, prompt engineering is going to be the #1 job. So I mean, we're still learning how to prompt it.
I mean, I think that's the most powerful thing you have in this whole process.
You hit the
and
nail
it is
on the head.
writing.
Yes.
Yes, it's writing. It is, and it's a kind of a reciprocal, an iterative process, right? Because you'll ask it to do something, it'll give you what it thinks you want, and then you can say, that's not what I meant, or I wanted it to be shorter, or longer, or more professional, or less formal, or whatever, and it will kind of redo it back out again. And as Tom said, I'll be leading a session at WeConnect on prompting, so feel free to join.
Kim, do you use it in any of your classes that you've seen? Kim Barbados from Castle Hill, she's 4-5 class at Castle Hill. Do you see it and use it? Sorry to call you out, 'cause you don't want to you can't hide anymore.
I don't use it with my students as much, but I use it personally to help me write better IEP goals, do better planning and things like that with them. It helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked Jill about that. He said they actually had a template for the Delaware IEP process in there. It's very helpful. There's a very lot of IEPs. Yeah.
It helps me to individualize that process a little more.
Cool. Thanks.
And just kind of going off of what Kim said, when Holly was over here working on the teacher side, I invited her to try the IEP assistant block, because with her background with special education. And when she looked at it, I asked her, how did it do? And I don't know if you want to add into it, but she's like, you need to add a lot more. And I think that's very key, right? Is that one thing that Joe and I have talked a lot about, and we had talked a lot about, is that 70-30 rule, or that 80-20, is, you can, AI can get you 70% of the way there. But if you're not already familiar with what you're looking for, you're not going to be able to then take that out and make it correct. So, if Holly was using that IEP assistant and she, put in there, it's now 70%, and now she goes back through and uses her expertise, her training, her learning, and then she's able to make it exactly what she needs it to be.
The other thing I said that you have to be careful of is that the whole idea with IEPs, it's individualized. So that you have to be careful of what you put in and what you get out. That you don't, it shouldn't be the exact same thing for every student, because it's supposed to be individualized.
Yeah, and I think one thing we talked about is, there is an issue with IEPs that are being written in the traditional format that do become copy and paste, right? Just because of the time constraints of teachers. So this can, if used properly it can help to negate that issue a little more, because it can provide more ideas, more feedback. It's a thought partner back and forth. So do you want to introduce the book?
I was going to say, so we love to read in Colonial, which is a great leadway for Ms. Gutowski's upcoming presentation. This is a great book. We have a copy for each of you. The nice thing about this book is it gets to that prompting. So there's some really good activities and some really good things to think about while you're reading this book. So we have a copy for each of you.
Yeah, and while we're handing that out, we pulled out one quote that I think really hits on us for educators, is that AI will eliminate some jobs, but it's going to change every job. And the big part of it is those who can work with AI will replace those who can't. So the people who are like, I'm not touching AI, I'm never going to use it, it's not going to be a part of my life, more power to you, that's great. But that person who has a similar skill as yours and is able to use AI to work faster and still get the same results, they're more likely to move up in that world.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Cool.
Yes, thank you guys very much. And more I want to say, I won't ask any more questions, but just to compliment you, when you hear, oh, we're going to have a discussion about AI, I'm like, all right, I want to see how this is going to go. This was extremely interesting and well put together, so thank you guys. That was a lot. I want to see a second round of it too.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, you have no, when I heard about this coming for 3 months, I was like, it's gonna be a boring presentation. It was, and I'll be fully honest, you know, when you hear
She told us to make it.
I know, when it came up.
The only thing
Yeah, she said no slides.
We needed them.
The only thing better was if you had Allen Iverson helping you teach. I was like, where is AI? I don't see him here.
That's his dad joke for the night. But seriously, this was great. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. And we do, I know it is for us, an unusually lengthy meeting with presentations, but we did bring in forward a couple from February. We do always have in March our Katie comes back and talks to us a little bit about ELA in the district. So we have a unique, this is a little bit different of a presentation. We didn't have any kids because they would have been way past their bedtime because they were mostly elementary when she brings them here. So Katie is going to share with us an update from advancing literacy in the field. So,
yes.
Katie?
Good evening, Colonial Nation. Katie Gutowski, excited and happy to be here. Really privileged and honored to have Carrie Campbell joining me tonight, as well as Sarah Bateman, literacy coach Sarah Bateman at Castle Hills, and Carrie Campbell, principal at Castle Hills. So we're going to be chatting about advancing literacy and just share some updates about what's happening in the field around literacy. You know, we're coming off of I Love to Read Month, we're coming off of Read Across America, and so reading is all the buzz in our schools. You know, you might be having an opportunity to go in and read aloud to our staff and students, and they love to see you out and about. So we read, we communicate, and we value. As we continue our work this year, just a reminder, we are in year 3 of CKLA, our core knowledge language arts curriculum program in grades K to 2, and we're in year 2 in grades 3 to 5. Amongst all of the things that we're doing, you know, implementing the curriculum, coaching on the curriculum, you know, we're really focused on building our capacity and our leadership around early literacy, our knowledge around early literacy, and expanding to our building administrators and continuing to expand in our coaches. And so I'm really excited to have Carrie here because she's going to share a little bit about her journey through this ELA cohort. And these ELA cohorts are Early Literacy Leadership Academies in partnership with DOE and with School Kit. In addition to the ELA cohorts and that literacy and learning we're doing on those monthly visits and that PD, we're also focusing on coaching walkthroughs, so opportunities to go into classrooms to see what's happening, engage with our students, look at some student work, as well as continuing to focus on improvement science. We've been on that journey all year, really focused on data analysis, as well as science of reading PD. So I wanted to start us off by just kind of celebrating some data, specifically at Castle Hills. At the beginning of the year, you'll see the BOY data, and that's typically what I share with you, right? Middle of the year, I get to celebrate all of the progress that we've made across Colonial. I wanted to kind of narrow in on Castle Hill specifically as Carrie gets ready to share her journey. So in kindergarten, our students who were the most intensive, who came in needing a little more support, some additional opportunities to engage with folks, we were at 55% were below proficiency. So that's our most intensive student. Through the work of our teachers, our coaching, our administrator, our teachers were able to decrease that number to 37% with a gain of a change of 18%. So we're moving the students in the right direction. We're minimizing that intensive group. And then we're not only minimizing our intensive students, but we're growing our green. We're growing our students that are proficient. We had 25% of our students in kindergarten proficient. We're now at 52%. And so we're hitting our goals that have been set through our programming and through our benchmark system, which is a big celebration for us. And then if we take a look at first grade, our first grade subgroup of students are also minimizing our most at-risk students, and we're also moving and growing our proficient students with a change there of 4% and 6%. And so at this time, I'm gonna turn over to Carrie so she can share all of the good that's going on at Castle Hills.
Good evening, I am Carrie Campbell. I'm the proud principal at Castle Hills. So just to give you a little bit of history, this is my third year as a principal. So 3 years ago, I came on as my first year as principal. That was also the first year that CKLA started to begin being implemented in grades K to 2. And then last school year, grades 3 to 5 implemented the first year, and I had the opportunity to participate in Ella PD, thanks to Katie Gutowski, and I participated in that with my literacy coach at the time. And so that was really the game changer on how I created the systems and structures to get the student growth that we have to support our teachers, which supported our students. And so really it all comes down to being intentional with your planning. And so last March I met with my instructional coaches. We talked about what are we seeing in the classrooms and how can we help students grow. And so one thing that we really focused on was lesson internalization, making sure that our staff understand the lessons that they're implementing, but also are able to support the students and their needs. So then from April to June, we created a partnership with School Kit, and so I have a coach assigned to me, Tara Warrington, who is amazing at what she does and really pushes me to think outside the box. And then over the summer, I really drafted some systems and structures to begin implementing this school year with the help of Kim Barbado to really make sure that our teachers were having success and our students were having success. And then August, we rolled out some PD to our K-2 staff and also began to implement our school success plan. And so I'm gonna have Sarah Bateman just talk about some of those systems and structures that we currently have going on.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Bateman. I'm the literacy coach at Castle Hills. So part of what Ms. Campbell is sharing with you is that structure and that routine that we have that is a #1 priority for us, meaning, for example, the building could be on fire and nothing changes. Our game plan is instruction, and that is our priority. So we have a 3-week grade level of rotation. Our focus is K-2, early literacy. So Carrie and I will go in, conduct side-by-side walkthroughs. Prior to those walkthroughs, depending on the grade level, we will get those lesson plans, find out where our teachers are in pacing, really internalize so that we know what we're looking for and making sure we're seeing good instruction. We will conduct the observation then, and then afterwards we'll come back, debrief, and really be intentional and about our, excuse me, about our feedback for individual teachers as well as grade level trends that we can share with them, really making connections to the walkthrough tool that we use through School Kit that we've adapted for Castle Hills. And part of this plan is in our school success plan. So together we've created a goal of teacher growth, walkthrough tools from that observation tool, as well as creating a goal, a student-facing goal of mastering tricky words in grades K-2.
So for next school year, we really want to focus on strengthening our PLCs to that time where teachers are able to collaborate and also build our leadership capacity of our team leaders. So every grade level has a team leader. And so we just want to make sure that they feel confident in leading some student data digs to support support our instruction. And then also implement this work in grades 3 to 5. And another bullet that is not on there, but just continue to share the success and growth that Castle Hills have. I had another principal from Southern come over and observe us. Today I actually made a connection with MOT Charter, so they are going to be coming to Castle Hills in April to kind of see what Sarah and I do so they can take it back to their school. And then last week the state came in just to see the structures we're putting in so other schools are able to start seeing the same success that we have. And I'm gonna turn it over to Katie for district.
And we're just going to continue on with the LOPD. I mean, you can hear Carrie is in year 2 now with the support of this Early Literacy Leadership Academy, and she's making moves. And all of our elementary buildings at this point are now participating. 5 in the first cohort, 3 in year 2 cohort. So we're excited to continue that work. Continue to use Carrie and Castle Hills teachers and Sarah as supports. You know, I think it's great that we've already made connections and just continue to grow the good here in Colonial. School-based learning walks, walkthroughs as a district, and just continue to focus on the lesson internalization and the student work analysis. Starting to bring student work into it now that we're starting to get in the groove of what CKLA is and how to plan from it and teach from it, looking at the student work and then making adjustments there. And at that point, we have a picture of all of these students. These are first grade students who currently mastered all of their tricky words. So you heard Sarah talk about tricky words. Tricky words are those words that you can't decode, right? So remember a couple months ago when I was here, we did chaining and we did some of those sight words, tricky words. Those are the words that you can't sound out. So you have to memorize them. You have to be directly told what the code is. And so these first grade students have already mastered and they're rocking their We Read shirts. So we're so proud of them and can't wait to add to that picture in the coming months.
Can you remind us, just give us one tricky word that can't be decoded?
From.
Okay, right.
This is F-R-O-M, it makes the sound, and so that O is tricky.
Right, okay.
And our kindergartners can tell you why. I was in the classroom last week, they can tell you exactly why it's tricky.
So one thing here, I think great, it's always good to hear about what's going on in literacy and ELA. Katie, thank you for coming out. One thing that I think it was neglected to be shared, and I think is a shout out and a props to Katie and the team. This presentation is a modified version of a presentation they were asked to do for all the statewide curriculum cadre members by DOE. So they were held up as a shining example of how to lead the work, look at data, you name it. They rocked it out, heard great things about it. And so that's something that wasn't said, but these slides are directly from that presentation. So I would say kudos.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right. We're in a home stretch. I know this is unusually lengthy for many of us here. We're out of practice.
Breaking news, Colonial does a 2-hour meeting.
We're gonna make something for the reason that we will not go 2 hours. I have, the next action item is I'm putting in front of the board a revised board meeting schedule, specifically moving May's meeting to a week prior to allow the Human Resources Division to conduct business that complies with employment and labor regulations as it relates to non-rollovers and non-renewals and the like that are due to be delivered by May 15th. So we just ask the board's consideration and action upon this request.
Make a motion that we approve the previously approved May 24th school board meeting from the 13th of May to the 6th of May as requested.
Second.
Well, as I've heard a motion and I've heard a second, are there any questions or comments from the board? All right, no questions or comments. All those in favor, please signify with saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is approved. Ducks free as well. Keys, everything.
But before we adjourn, one thing I have to say, so we can get it on record and I can include the video in the record. How about the performance by the students this evening that we saw before we came into the board meeting?
Very
What did we
good.
think? Pretty good?
Yep.
Mr. Morris,
They were terrific.
God bless his heart, was teaching right up to the minute.
And during.
And during.
Yeah.
It was really special to see somebody like that energized about it. And the kids, they were like, the one young lady was so polite. She's like, thank you, Mr. Morris. I was like, whew, all right. So kudos to them, and we'll put a link to that. Gabe filmed it. We'll put a link to that in the board minutes. Make sure it gets shared district-wide so everybody can see they're wonderful.
That was Newcastle Elementary.
That was Newcastle Elementary, yes, Mr. Morris.
Yeah, they were great.
They were great. So that's it. Now you can go.
All right, with that being said, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All right, as moved by Ms. Walls, seconded by Mr. Handy. No question or comments from the board. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay.